For Walker, 4 receptions. He and Snoop both with 4.
Yardage was a little different, though.
Snoop a $163, including the 98-yarder. And there is Walker, who had 59. One shy of 60 tonight. Junior college transfer. Flanked out this way. From his 5, Winky deep down the sideline for Atrus Bell. 40-yard line. Cannot come up with it. Now, that ball was thrown better than 55 yards by Chris Winky.
And overthrown only by about 3 feet. End zone look at it. Clemson rushing 4, dropping 7. Chris just airs it out. A little bit of separation and just a little bit of an overthrow.
The Seminoles were coming off the field thinking it's now 4th down, and I counted 2. I am not so certain. They haven't played an extra snap here.
Well, I believe we had a penalty on the first play. Right. That would have made it 1st down over again. And then the incompletion.
I mean, to a man, they all ran off. It's now 3rd down. 3rd and 20. Timeout taken by Florida State. Clemson walked up the blitz, loaded the box, and Chris immediately called timeout. A pause in the action early. 23-7 Seminoles.
Teams from the workaround.
At Steak and Shake, we're a restaurant. You sit. I serve.
Steak and Shake.
Kelly, will you marry me? Yes, of course. Of course. God, we're gonna be so happy.
Sure, whatever. Now I need the flowers, the caterer, the cake, my dress.
Whoa, all that in 2 months? Ow.
There's an idea.
Find almost everything you need in the Sprint Yellow Pages, the best red Yellow Pages.
We can move in here after the wedding.
Look on new real estate.
Or not.
BIG technology chips. Great buy. Good.
Hey, big tech chips. Huh.
At SunTrust, our advisors believe investment should be based on individual planning, not the tip of the day.
Big tech chips. Buy now.
So if you're looking for solid financial help, call SunTrust. Smart investing starts here.
Well, I really can't say, Eileen. All I know is the stock is going through the roof.
From the home of college football's reigning national champions, our game is brought to you in part by SunTrust and by C&I Web Company, where DSL lives up to speed, and by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. The demand for a ticket tonight obviously very high. Bowden Bowl II. There's Jeff Bowden sending Nick Maddox onto the field. Like his older brother Tommy, who was an assistant here, graduate assistant, 76, 77, and 78 to his dad when he first arrived. 50 games unbeaten.
Clemson, the last non-Florida team to beat Florida State.
Terry Allen, I can see it right now. Daddy Ford was the head coach beneath the lights here. And it came the week after Florida State had been upset in Jacksonville by Brett Favre. They began that year 0-2.
And they still finished 3rd in the country after going 0-2.
Well, you know, if they win here tonight, that would be their 9th win. Would go to Wake next week, a game that will be available on pay-per-view, by the way. And here on Sunshine Network, it would mark, if they win there, the 14th straight year, 10 or more wins.
Unmatched in college football history.
Keith Cottrell. Tumbles it toward Brian Mans, who lets it hit, and it's down at the Clemson 44-yard line.
Good to see Michael Boulware back out there, number 57, that downed that punt. You see Keith come off.
It's a 41-yard punt for Keith Cottrell. He's averaging better than 40 for the 3rd consecutive year. And Bowden's box, which is filled tonight with both Seminoles and Tigers. All the grandkids that are in there. The family reunion in Tallahassee. Here's Woody Dantzler. Doing what? Lost the ball. Stripped from behind. Florida State has fallen on the football. Bradley Jennings comes away with the rock. It belongs to Florida State right at midfield.
Tommy right there to plead his case, but to no avail. Monster comes up with the pigskin. Tommy not real happy about it. Get another look at it. Gets hit from behind by David Warren right there. Slaps the ball out. Very clearly a fumble. Let's see if he got it in time. Ew, that's very close, Paul. He did recover it, but was he in bounds? If he was out of bounds, then the ball goes back to Clemson.
Well, a judgment call the official made in the blink of an eye. He appeared to be out of bounds. And Tommy, remember the punt earlier in the game that pinned Florida State at its 2-yard line? The longest punt in his kicker's career. And J.B. Semany, in the very next play, Chris Winkie throws the longest pass that we have seen in 30 years in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
And I got to correct myself. I said the Florida State's previous long was 99 yards. Kurt Unglaub receiving Jimmy Black. It wasn't. It was J.J. Jimmy Jordan throwing that ball. You get credit for correcting me.
Snoop is in. Shaking here, Bowden down at the 35-yard line. Anquan Bowden on the snare here in front of Brian Mans. And the sophomore, Alcaloo, South Carolina.
Again, Florida State reverting back to the quick drops and the hitches and the quick outs and slants to try to negate that powerful Clemson blitz.
Winkie again off the fingertips this time of Tallman Gardner. The sophomore had a catch in the first half.
Defended by number 30, Darryl Crutchfield.
Menace, Gardner, Maddox, Bell, Bolden, Walker, all with their hands on the ball tonight.
Well, Chris had thrown to 17 different Seminoles coming into the night. There were 14 of them that had rushes. That's a whole bunch of people knowing how to do something with the pigskin.
Flares, this time Golightly is able to make the catch. What a tremendous grab by Randy Golightly. Not necessarily the lightest man on his feet. You saw him drop the touchdown earlier in the first half. This was even a tougher catch here.
Much tougher catch, but good adjustments by Billy Sexton and getting the fullback to understand once he clears that linebacker, get your head back. Get your head back, find the football. See him turned all the way around to make that reception. Very nicely done. Keith Adams on the coverage.
A couple of catches tonight for Randy, who takes over, starts at fullback in place of the injured William McCray. Cheney slashing down at the 20-yard line, taking it straight ahead behind Jared Moon, Justin Amon. Between those two offensive linemen, Keith, and Moon and Amon, those are the two most recent ACC linemen of the week, the way that Florida State has been able to push defenses back.
You'll see it work right there on the left-hand side. Golightly with a good block on the linebacker springs Jeff into that secondary area right behind the linebackers. That's a good 3 or 4 yard gain every time. As you mentioned, Amon and Moon anchoring that line. Montre Holland at the other tight guard position, and then Sharon Dorsey, Brett Williams at the tackle.
Jeff Cheney. First and goal, Seminoles. They're wearing down Clemson as they wore down North Carolina State a week ago.
As we talked in the first quarter, you've got a big weight advantage. Florida State's offensive line right at 300, a little over. Clemson's defensive line about 260. 40-pound weight advantage, and that'll start wearing on a defense as you keep pounding and pounding and pounding. I'll tell you something else that's interesting. Have you ever seen Jeff Cheney finish a run where his head wasn't pointed towards the goal line?
More south. Pointed that way now. Stays on his feet. Fights his way inside the 1 yard line. Like you said, pointed toward the goal line. Charles Hafley had to make a touchdown-saving stop on Jeff Cheney, the senior, his final year from Lake Wales, Florida.
Goes over 300 yards rushing on the season tonight. Again, Go Lightly leading the way. Get a little scrape block on the outside. Gets caught inside. Does Chef and just pulls right out of it. Keeps churning and working and working. And that gold helmet always pointed north if they're going north, or south if they're headed south.
So stacked in the eye. Go Lightly, Cheney. Go Lightly. His second touchdown of the game. Florida State nears 30.
And if Jeff Cheney is one thing, he is unselfish. He's the first one there to congratulate Go Lightly, as you see Reggie Herring on the sidelines. Another look at it here. Wham! Both verbally and physically.
Andre Holland drove his man well into the end zone. Extra point up in the air. It is good. Kicking game has been perfect. The Noles offensively near the picture of perfection tonight, blowing away the Clemson Tigers and playing for the Bulls.
The fastest way to save toward the new GM car or truck of your dreams is to earn 5% on every credit card purchase. The new GM card. What are you charging toward?
Let's it go. Oh! He knocked it in at the buzzer. It's good. Darrell dribbles up top, hoists another three. Let's it go. Got another one. He dunked it down. Slides through the lane and buried it.
Introducing Checkers' new Screaming Chicken Strips, packed with tangy coleslaw, famous fries, and tender slabs of all-white meat chicken.
Hi, I'm the president of Checkers, and if you ask me, these new Screaming Chicken Strips are better than Popeyes and KFC. Oops, did I say that?
Great new chicken, but what's up with that commercial?
New Screaming Chicken Strips. Checkers, high-performance human fuel.
Tommy Polley, Brian Allen, and the Noles leading 30-7. Those are two finalists for the Butkus Award this season, presented by the Downtown Athletic Club of Orlando, given to college football's finest linebacker.
Florida State was the only team with two of them. Keith Adams for Clemson. So you got 3 of the 10 right here in Doak.
Check in with Tom.
Well, guys, just what you said, the Butkus Award. You mentioned the semifinalists, 11 right now, and the Downtown Athletic Club of Orlando is represented in the house tonight. There is the Butkus Award. You know what? The trophy's built for a linebacker because you pick it up, it's about 35 or 40 pounds. Deceivingly heavy, but they will narrow the field to just 3 coming up this week. So this is really the last chance for Brian Allen, Tommy Polley, and Keith Adams to make a note in the mind of the voters, I guess you say, if they haven't already cast their votes. Guys?
Looks as if Dick Butkus could still play by that silhouette, number 51.
Yeah, but that acting career has gotten in the way.
Now involved with the XFL. Matt Munyon, a powerful kickoff. Best way to play field position is to start your foe off at the 20. Munyon has done that tonight. A freshman from Panama City. Contribution to this team. And to see him have success. It has been less success than anticipated for Rick Stockstill's Tiger offense tonight. Throttled by Florida State. And I think Dancer's ankle injury may have played a role in that. 15 yards, or 15 attempts tonight. Less than 100 yards passing and less than 15 yards on the ground. He's been unable to get free like this, swarmed under him. Kevin Emanuel is there. A freshman defensive tackle, number 90. It's a loss of 1.
It's certainly hampered him, Paul, if not physically, then at least mentally. He has just not been as quick as we've seen him on tape. See big Emanuel there. Odell Higgins there on the right, and Joe Kynes with the hat on there on the left.
Odell Higgins was on that Punt Rooski Ball club that won in Death Valley. Dantzler again, flush. Everybody covered, running out of time, so he chucks it into the bench. It'll be third down. Knoll defense, overlooked in all the offensive pyrotechnics, is the fact that Florida State's defense is in the top 10 in the nation.
4th against the points, 8th against total defense, 2nd against the rush. They're just against anything. If it's got an offense associated with it, Florida State's defense is against it.
And that defense, too, has put points on the board 7 times this season. Tay Cody was prowling. Dantzler saw him, skips it up short to Rod Gardner, who's been all but shut out tonight by Florida State secondary. Gardner with just 1 catch tonight. Mickey Andrews' defense has made him a marked man. Frustrated as he comes off the field.
This is the situation when Mickey likes to bring the punt rush.
Samani from his 10. He got a lot of that. Backpedaling to the 35-yard line. Maddox, first man takes him down. Youngblood flew down there, the gunner. Kevin Youngblood got him, latched onto him, and dropped it. A fine special teams play following a 46-yard punt. Lost about 3 yards on that return, too, thanks to Kevin Youngblood.
Nick seeing his time there at wide receiver and punt returner.
Catch that. I mean, how fast is Youngblood to fly down there? You make the catch, and there he is, right on top of it. Chris Winke's 300-yard games, the most in Seminole history, breaking that tie with Danny Cannell. The blitz. Minor right against it. Travis got outside against the blitz, caught him in it. He's at midfield. And a first down.
That's the downside of an attacking defense. If you do hand the ball off and your back finds a seam, there's nobody behind the line of scrimmage. You'll see everybody walk up, and Travis will step right out and elude the first tackler and then make one miss. That's Robert Carswell, the all-ACC safety that's grabbing air. Reggie Herring again on the sidelines.
Now Travis Minor, much like Winky, on the verge of setting records. He has now gone over 3,000 for his career. H.U.'s bell in the flat, sidesteps, spins to the 35. So on a night in which Chris Winky may surpass 9,000 yards, Travis Minor, Keith, has 3,000 yards on the ground in his career.
Good no block by Snoop Menace here. You're going to watch him come into the frame, and then he's going to pull off a block so that he doesn't get flagged. Good decision by the senior, and congratulations out to Travis. Quite a milestone. I believe only the 3rd Florida State back to go over 3,000 career yards rushing.
Correction. Make that a block in the back. Offense.
Been a difficult night for our crew from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Jeff Bowden.
Walk in the back by the offense during the run. 10 yards from the bottom of the foul. Beat the down.
That was not on.
It was not on Snoop. I can assure you.
Only Warwick Dunn, Greg Allen, and now Travis Minor in the history of Florida State have rushed for 3,000 yards. An illustrious trio. Larry Key, Sammy Smith, both phenomenal ball carriers. Pumping once, going to buy the fake. Now Walker, it's been a huge night for him. It continues. Wow, what an evening. A night to remember to the 18-yard line in front of Crutchfield, who has been abused tonight by Javon Walker, playing in place of the injured Morgan.
And what a great adjustment by Walker and Winky. This ball was a pump fake on the out pattern. Supposed to be an out and go. Walker breaks it off and goes back to the inside to keep from going out of bounds. Chris reads it, throws a dart instead of laying the ball up, and nice throw and catch. Again, this ball was intended to be thrown about 20 yards deeper, almost to the goal line on an up pattern after the out fake. Walker breaks it off. Chris reads it, and drills it.
For 32 yards. Snared and then dropped, incomplete at the 10-yard line. And on that completion, Javon Walker will own the distinction of making the catch that propelled Chris Winkie past 9,000 yards in his career. Just the 4th player in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference to pass for 9,000. Running Ben Bennett, Jamie Barnett, and Duke Spence-Fisher. 9,000 yards for Chris.
In 3 seasons, not 4.
Golightly was out there leading the way, but I don't think he hit anyone in orange. And Chad Carson got Travis Minor pretty good.
Well, that'll be one of the few plays where Randy hasn't hit anybody. If he's not hitting people, he's scoring touchdowns. We'll call that his first miss, and it came about halfway through the 3rd quarter.
Gain of about 1. Joe Kangs, Mickey Andrews, and defense. Down now, they need 9. Reach the 8, it's a first. Blitz coming again. Winkie against the blitz. Got it to Bell, but it may have deflected off of Minor's shoulder pads there. Hafley was coming up. Kind of zoned him in that area too.
That was just well defended again. Clemson coming with that blitz right up the middle. Carson comes 3 and Chris throwing it to a spot. Both men covered well.
They had Nick Eason dropping his own blitz, the defensive end. 98. Been a perfect night, 3 for 3 so far for Brett Cimarelli here from 35. Again with distance, and again it's good. 4 field goals tonight by Brett Cimarelli. Boy, the kicking game, bathing in glory this evening. A great time, too, for it all to come together for Florida State.
Join the charge with new Lightning 10-packs. 10 great games for the price of 8. Lightning 10-packs start at $79. Call 813.
We all have mentors, people we look up to, and a tattoo is a way of paying tribute.
My mom and dad, they didn't want me to get a tattoo of Kurt Gowdy. They didn't want me to get any tattoo.
This is mine, Chris Berman.
Passionate, enthusiastic. That's why Harry's my idol. There's nobody better than Harry Carey.
For me, there was one choice. I'm Dick Schaap for the Sports Reporters.
Sponsored locally by your Southern Ford dealers, home of America's best-selling truck, 23 years running, the Ford F-Series.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bowden, coach of the Florida State Seminoles. Because I'm concerned about teenagers with the problems they face, I'm excited about the excellent work of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in our schools. I really appreciate the FCA and all who support them locally.
These special sponsors really benefit our local teens, from middle school through college, both athletes and those who just enjoy sports, providing a healthy, year-round fellowship with great role models. Thank you, sponsors.
Dependable coverage and expert insight on all your favorite teams.
Sunshine Network Live, weeknights at 6:30.
I wish you well.
33-7, Florida State leading Clemson. Night in which Chris Winkie has got over the 9,000-yard plateau in his career.
Again, as I mentioned, nice adjustment by Walker, and Chris picks right up on it. And that's the kind of communication and familiarity that you would expect out of your senior and junior college transfer.
Well, Matt Munyon's big night continues. That 4 field goals as well out of Brett Cimarelli. Tom, that's only one shy of the Florida State record of 5 field goals in a game.
Yeah, you know, I'll ask the expert Seminole about that. Burt Reynolds, we talked to him during the BYU game in Jacksonville. They were just commenting, I think we found the kicking game tonight.
Well, I think, this is the first time that we realized he was hurt before. He came here as a quarterback kicker, and he didn't know that you could go out there and kick 82 times in practice. Pull a little leg, but now he's well, and it's obvious that he's well. I mean, I wish he'd been well in Miami. It would have been a big difference, but he's got it tonight.
Last time we talked with you, I think you were up in Canada filming a movie with Sly Stallone. Now you tell me you're in New Orleans. What's on the plate for you right now?
I'm doing a picture of New Orleans now, and then I'll be there for about 8 more weeks, and then I go to Holland. You know, it's feast or famine in my business, but suddenly I've reinvented myself again.
Bobby Bowden, 25th anniversary going against son Tommy Bowden. This is special, isn't it?
This is very special, and I see Winky's got 362 yards. Probably makes him the all-time leader, and it's an amazing night to be here. The crowd isn't into it as much as I'd like them to be, but it's obvious that the ball players are.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by and spending some time with us. We'll let you get back to the business of watching the game.
Thank you very much. Great to see you.
All righty. Burt Reynolds, former Seminole, always a Seminole, bleeding garnet and gold. Second time we've caught up with him this year on the sidelines. Paul, Keith?
And he also points out a very true fact that Chris now throwing for 362 yards. Well, here again, make room for Jack Childress.
We have a chop block by the offense. That penalty is refused. Third down.
All right, Jack, don't shout. It's 348 yards that he needed tonight to pass Thad Busby for the single-season record. He has done that. So Chris Winky, another sterling performance. And as Burt Reynolds was saying, the single-season passing record now belongs to him. Dancer, that was pretty. Arches the ball, flag down, caught, catch made by Gardner. 20-yard line. He may go the distance. Tate Cody dives, can't get there. Touchdown apparently Clemson with a flag down at midfield. A work of art. Woody Dantzler, the arching spiral to Ron Gardner, who caught it in stride and then weaved his way into the end zone. Good for 85 yards and the score.
Well, you knew Gardner was a big play guy. He'd had 15 catches over 20 yards in the season. Be interesting to see what this call is.
They offset.
I was suspecting that it might be offensive pass interference the way Gardner got away and got separation from Cookie.
Well, it's defensive pass interference and procedure against Clemson.
No, I had it backwards. I apologize. Get another look at it. Procedure.
We have illegal formation. Only 6 players on the offensive line. We have defensive pass interference. Fouls offset. We replay third down.
Well, the reason I missed that, Paul, is that's not defensive pass interference. I don't know where that flag came from.
Been a tough night for the crew.
Tough night for me, too.
Coach Bowden wants an explanation upstairs. Unless they were flagging Cookie for his right arm being in contact with Rod Gardner, but I did not see Gardner show any ill effects of that.
And I would suspect that Clemson's penalty was only 6 people on the line of scrimmage.
That is correct. An illegal formation. Dantzler again throwing for Youngblood. Tate Cody picks it off at midfield. Tate Cody. Number 27. He is supersized at 5'11". Cody with the pick.
Now you want to talk about a nice adjustment on the football that is normally made by a wide receiver. This time it's made by a defensive back. This ball is overthrown. Tay was looking back inside, turned back outside, followed the ball. What a nice adjustment. Interception number 3 on the year for the senior out of Blakely.
You know who his first career interception came against as a freshman? Let me guess. It came against the Clemson Tigers back in 1997. So for Tate Cody, bookend interception. And what was Mickey Andrews saying? That of all the great players that he's had,
what a compliment.
Nobody plays any harder.
Got the biggest heart of anybody he's ever coached.
That would include Samari Roll, who had just a tremendous performance a week ago on Monday Night Football at Brad Johnson's expense.
Well, that includes an NFL's Defensive Player of the Year and Deion Sanders, too.
Bolden got his hands on it. And then Alex Ardley got his hands on it as well.
Chris has been a little bit behind on the receivers as he opens up the second half. That's the 3rd ball he's been either behind on or overshot.
We've seen it a couple of times tonight, haven't we? We saw it with Travis Minor on a crossing route.
But we're getting picky, I would think, as you look at these numbers. What do you think?
362 yards. For Chris, it's his 11th 300-yard passing performance. He nears his third 400-yard effort. Career best, of course, 536 when he lashed Duke on this field earlier in the season. We have 6 minutes remaining here in our third quarter in what was billed as the championship game of the Atlantic Coast Conference. So the Seminoles now on a quarter and less than 6 minutes away from their unprecedented 9th consecutive ACC title.
And I'll go back to Tommy talking with Buddy down on the sidelines, Buddy Reynolds. Isn't it amazing, a guy of his stature follows Florida State so closely? Knew Chris was real close to the season passing yardage mark, etc.
Bell rings at the 21-yard line. This is remarkable. He, in double coverage, hangs in the air and snares it for 41 yards.
Not a ball you even necessarily would suggest that Chris needs to throw with the double coverage, but early in the year we started talking about the remarkable, acrobatic, spectacular. Now they've become routine.
Oh my goodness.
One-handed grab. Gets his left hand pulled down from him and hangs on to it with his right hand.
A 41-yard gain. 400 yards passing for Winky and more to Walker. First and goal. Javon Walker for 19.
We talked last year about Jamal Reynolds being hurt tail end of the season. He goes into the Sugar Bowl game, the national championship game, gets 3 sacks on Michael Vick. Jamal's been healthy this year, 12 sacks. Walker was hurt in the first part of the year. Now he's healthy.
Walker with a 100-yard receiving performance tonight on 6 catches. Golightly leads the way for Cheney. Driving, Cheney toward the end zone. He scores a touchdown. Number 1, helping drive Florida State's quest to be number 1 in college football. Fought through Reggie's defense. What desire.
Another look at it here. You're going to see nothing fancy. Instead of wham, they're going to do isolation. Golightly actually, for the second time tonight, maybe misses a block, and Cheney's going to keep working and churning and staying low and getting that helmet across, and the ball follows.
And the extra point follows as well. Chad Mater, too. A block there for Jeff Cheney with the touchdown. 40-7. Florida State, a commanding performance tonight in Bowden Bowl II.
Individually, they are standouts in their respect.
This is a national sales alert from Dodge. Effective immediately for 5 full years. Get 0 APR on 2000 Dodge Stratus and Intrepid, 0.9 APR on 2000 Dodge Dakota and Durango, and 4.9 APR on the all-new 2001 Dodge Caravan. See your Dodge dealer immediately, as these 60-month finance offers can save you over $5,000.
See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Here comes Clemson. Rans out to the 20, the 22. The Seminoles have taken advantage of 2 third-quarter turnovers, a fumble and an interception, and scored 17 more points, including this touchdown by Jeff Cheney.
Nice block on the outside by Chad Mater. Golightly whiffs, but it doesn't matter. Cheney's determined to get across, and he carries 4 or 5 Tigers with him.
Tiger himself, isn't he?
Without a doubt. Chancellor comes in to lead this series. Paul, he's 0 for 4 with an interception this half.
And a fumble, too.
And a fumble, you are correct.
Disastrous night for him. There goes Woody. Smacked down hard.
Chancellor on the keeper. Stop was made by number 9.
Kendall Pope. Stop there. We told you earlier. Winky hitting 9,000 yards.
Jumped 2 people tonight.
Closing in on Ben Bennett. And the record, the all-time leading passer in the history of the ACC. To Ben's credit, that stood 17 years. Slant route, look out. You don't want to do that to your receiver. You make him run that pattern. Rod Gardner, though, Jacksonville Reigns. It's a wonderful program they've had there. Brian Dawkins out of Reigns, an all-pro defensive back.
And a great connection from Reigns to Clemson. They've had a number of athletes go up there and star for the Tigers.
Remember Brad Scott when he was here, his assistant head coach, used to recruit that area so well, the Jacksonville area for Florida State. Now Clemson, of course. And motion. Clemson backpedaling prior to the snap of the ball. This is a rattled team. John McDermott moving now. The senior, who's played more snaps than any other Tiger over the last couple of seasons. Number 67.
Dead ball foul. False start. Offense. 5 yards. Still third down.
Started out the season to Tommy winning his first 8. Upset last week by Georgia Tech. Hammered tonight here in Tallahassee.
Last week is the one that he'll talk about most. A game that they should have won, had won, and then allowed Georgia Tech to go down on the final drive and score. There's some numbers in the family.
All 3 have posted perfect seasons.
All in the 90s.
Bobby, Terry, Tommy. Dantzler again. Ran out of bounds. Did Gardner. I say he was pushed out of bounds that way by Cookie. If he is going to scheme that way and line up that wide, Cookie's just going to shove him.
Ride him out of bounds. Let him take him safe out of the play.
It's good coaching. Cookie even with a wide grin on his face as he comes over.
Not a bad outing for your punter, but
well, that one kick was phenomenal.
You'd like to have him about 3 punts a game, not 6 or 7 or 8, whatever he ends up with.
The Noles have 8 up. They play return. Samani got all of this. Maddox will start from his 22. Stay on his feet. Got a block. What a block. Out to the 31-yard line. Rufus Brown with just a crack.
Defensive play by number 41.
To spring him. It's a 55-yard punt. And again, a flag is down. Holding on Florida State.
Holding, and that'll be enough for the first down.
Trying to hold up a gunner.
Now it'll be, is it post-possession, post-kick, or prior to the kick?
Where the flag was thrown would tell you along the line of scrimmage that it was one of the outside men fighting to hold up a gunner on the wing.
Florida State calls them bullets. They have their own special name for them. That's a 10-yard penalty.
At the line of scrimmage by the receiving team, 10 yards, previous spot, first down.
It's not an automatic first down, but since it was 4th and 9.5, that 10 yards will give them enough for the first down.
So this will be the 9th penalty. Check that. This will be the 11th penalty against the Seminoles, who are, by the way, the most penalized team in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And Clemson would be second. Well, new quarterback here, Willie Simmons from Quincy, Florida, in the Panhandle. They hand to Travis Zachary. An admission that Woodrow Dantzler was not himself tonight with the strained calf and ankle. And now it's the freshman and Simmons from Shanks High School.
Inside handoff, and they'll turn it back outside to Zachary. Gets good penetration, a little seam right there. Coach Bowden describing Dantzler as a running back. He describes Willie Simmons as a thrower, not a runner.
And a good hard run there by Travis Zachary. Zachary tonight, running the ball. This will be his 10th carry there. He's close to 50 yards. As you look at the former Tallahassee Democrat Offensive Player of the Year in the state of Florida, and Willie Simmons, who went to school at Clemson. Trying to pick up the first. He'll be shy on 3rd down. Big lick by Derek Gibson, strong safety.
Well, it's interesting. Willie tells the story, Willie Simmons, about being in Campbell Stadium 2 years ago. Florida State wins 48-0 over Clemson. Clemson absolutely shut out. Simmons here on a Florida State recruiting visit decided he wanted to be a part of something that was being built. Tommy Bowden's named as the head coach. He goes to Clemson. Now he's in his 2nd year, getting some playing time.
And he's played well. Thrown 5 touchdown passes in the last 2 weeks. And here he's going to run. And Tommy Polley wrapped him up on 3rd down, shy of the first down marker. But you would believe this would be 4-down territory for Clemson. 4-down situation. Shanks High School threw for better than 6,000 yards, did Willie Simmons. We weren't playing the Jamal Reynolds and the Tommy Polleys of the world there, though.
No, we're
respect.
not. Shanks with a great football tradition, as does Lincoln High School that we mentioned, and Jacksonville Reigns that we've mentioned.
The throw here. Tay Cody coming. Tay Cody sacked him. Tay Cody got to him. On his way down, Willie Simmons flung the ball. A flag was thrown. Now, if he was down, it's a sack. If he was throwing the ball, it's intentional grounding.
I think he might wave that flag off. Let's see.
Well, they spot the ball.
There is no flag for go pass. First down.
Down by contact. He goes over on downs. Florida State. Here comes Tay.
Very rare corner blitz by Tay Coney. Gets around the outside and wraps up Simmons. Is there anything Tay Cody can't do? Did he lead the band at halftime that we missed?
Well, he's also a graduate student, is Tay Cody. Already has his degree. That is close to being a fumble. Underhand on your way to the ground. Did not get it away, and here comes Chris Weinke. Close to throwing another touchdown pass. Just past Snoop, who appears to be A-OK with a hold-your-breath moment in the first half.
The wheel must be well.
For Snoop. Disastrous, the leading receiver. Atlantic Coast Conference tonight. Marvin Menace, just 4 catches, all coming in the first half, but good for 163 yards, including the longest pass in the ACC in its history, 98 yards. Nearing 500. He pumps once to Atruz. He's got Bell, who fumbled the ball at the 5. It rolls into the end zone for a touchback. Recovered there. It'll be brought out to the 20-yard line. Clemson will own the football following the pass from Weinke to Bell of 40 yards.
And no one will be more disappointed than Atruz. 10 total touchdowns on the year, 9 via the reception, 1 on a reverse. You'll see him gather the ball in and then head upfield, and a good strip. Ball goes rolling into the end zone for the touchback.
Down there, another look at it. Troy Bodrick, linebacker here, comes flying in. Got a pretty favorable spot. Yep, they could have marked him at the 1. From the 20. Again, Simmons at the helm. He unloads a strike to Justin Watts, his first catch of the second half. It's the first completed pass of the second half for Clemson, is it not?
Yes, it is. And again, you see the arm strength and the quarterbacking skills of Willie Simmons.
Well, he was the hero in their come-from-behind win over North Carolina. Threw 4 touchdown passes coming off the bench when Dantzler was injured.
228 yards.
Throws into the flat, juggled, and nearly picked off on
Stick a fork in it, B.A. Stick a fork in it.
By Allen. That came bouncing up. He nearly gobbled it up. Did Brian Allen. He called
Brian Allen.
Called by Woodrow Dantzler the Michael Vick of linebackers. Brian Allen. I thought that was a pretty good quote.
It's an excellent quote.
Second down now. Right on the money to Gardner. With touch, too. Across midfield to the 46-yard line, this time in front of Tay Cody. Gardner able to get his hands on the ball for only the second time this evening.
He's had 25 consecutive games, Paul, has Gardner with at least 2 catches. Tonight will make 26. Zone coverage by Florida State. Nice delivery by Simmons.
They pop this inside to Travis Zachary. Cuts back to his left, finds the 34-yard line. Zachary, in the Atlantic Coast Conference, he's been in the end zone more than any other player. He is also one of the great pass catchers in Tiger history out of the backfield. But they haven't thrown to him a lot tonight in the flat.
They have not. Last year he had 800-plus yards rushing and those 16 touchdowns. Got 37 career TDs now.
Simmons. Just devoured. Wrapped up by Alonzo Jackson. Jackson, I think, tackled the offensive lineman and the quarterback.
Just grab both of them and throw them out till you find the ball.
The sophomore from Americus, Georgia, Jackson. The stop is Simmons. And the third quarter now is complete. The Seminoles are 15 minutes away. Not only from an Atlantic Coast Conference crown, but from a BCS Bowl. We go to the fourth. And a celebration set to ensue in Bowden Bowl II. Here it goes.
I use Stamps.com? Well, I never have to go to the post office, and I never run out of postage.
It makes life easy for businesses like mine. I can print postage right from my computer anytime, day or night.
Stamps.com, it was easy to get started. All I needed was my computer, printer, and an internet connection.
Just a few clicks. And Stamps.com prints exactly the postage I need, so I pay only the right amount, with no mistakes.
It's even got a program that verifies the address, so I know my mail's always addressed correctly. And I can do it all from my computer.
Stamps.com gives all my mail and packages a totally professional look, without the expense and hassle of a postage meter.
Call now and try Stamps.com for free. You'll get free software and up to $40 in free postage. So call now to discover a better way to mail your letters and packages.
Stamps.com, the way things should go.
Loyalty is shifted west. Can he lead the Sonics with the Magic's new tricks? Coverage begins Monday at 7 with Sunshine Network Live. Sit back and soak in a special edition of Sunshine Network Live. Tom Block and Barry Milligan will preview and evaluate the upcoming Seminoles basketball season. Monday at 6:30 on Sunshine.
We head to the fourth quarter this evening on Sunshine Network. Paul Kennedy, Keith Jones, Tom Block. 15 minutes away from FSU's 9th consecutive ACC crown. Simmons guns deep, and he overshoots Youngblood at the 5-yard line. Keith, in the history of college football, we do not believe, and this is the Florida State University Sports Information Office too, that any school has ever won any conference in the history of the game 9 straight years.
I believe that to be accurate. If you followed conference play, any of the conferences, no team has dominated like Florida State has in the ACC.
Simmons rolling, looking, and nowhere near completing that. Down to Tom Block.
Guys, just to continue what you're talking about with the ACC dominance, 9 straight. Sometimes you think Florida State fans just think it's a God-given right that you automatically win the conference. Clemson actually is first overall in conference crowns, though. They've won it 13 times, but the way Florida State is rolling, it's not going to take too much longer until they catch up, maybe move past the Tigers, guys.
You're right, Tom, to a point, because you don't want to take anything for granted because of the wizardry of this man, the fabulous coach. Took him to a bowl game last year. They went to the Peach. Clemson was in shambles. They end up winning 10 games, and they have 8 wins so far to be the first time in a decade they've won 10. Down at the 7-yard line.
And let's not forget, this is the same program that won the national championship in '81. Perfect 12-0.
Not in the Orange Bowl. 14 and a half minutes remaining. 33-yard punt. Bobby Bowden tonight will collect his 312th win. And this is 35th season. College coaching. 5 men. More than 300 wins. And Chris Winkie tonight. Off the goal line. Throwing again. The Bowden juggle. And incomplete. However, let the record show that Winkie tonight with 466 yards passing. That is the most in the 105-year history of Clemson football that the Tigers have ever allowed. The most passing yards ever against Clemson tonight, recorded by Chris Winkie here at Doak.
Simply amazing, the records that Chris continues to accumulate and this offense continues to add.
And when Clemson spread, there goes Travis Minor to the 24-yard line. Hafley up on the stop of Minor and gallops for 16. Travis now's got a shot at 76 yards for another 100-yard performance.
Good blocking at the point of attack with Moon and Almond, makes the linebacker miss and then just heads upfield. Has to be run down from the angle.
Yeah, he's never rushed for 1,000 yards, Keith. Well, this will take him close to 800 on the season with a couple of games remaining. And as if he's heard us, he's at midfield.
He must have his IFB in. His earpiece is working.
Travis Minor with that 25-yard run. Now for the 14th time in his career in the second straight week has rushed for 100 yards.
Again, isolation action, nice meet in the hole by Go Lightly, and then Travis turns the corner. Unlike most running backs, Paul, when he runs to his left, he still keeps that ball in his right arm. Not the way you coach it, but it works for Travis.
Winkie steps up, hit as he fires, and it flutters incomplete. Got a backside shot from Terry Bryant, the defensive end.
Pass was intended for number 13, Marvin Menace.
It took him down. I mean, you wince when you see hits like that on your quarterback.
Especially from Chris's backside, as we all remember. That's how he was injured against Virginia 2 years ago. Offensive line prides themselves on not allowing solid hits on Chris and protecting him, and they've done a fantastic job.
The out. Tom and Gardner for a first down. The ball was in the air before Gardner, the sophomore, made his cut. It's good for 13.
Those are the timing routes that you throw every day in practice. Play action, turn, plant, throw, Gardner rather. Just a little pitch and catch. They make it look so easy.
Chris and Gardner's second catch here. I'm just leaning over and taking a look at our stats here. Chris is near 500 yards through the air. Jeff Chaney on in relief of Travis Minor has done a night's work too, battling his way into the end zone.
Florida State now on 600 yards of total offense, are they not?
See his top games, and this of course includes tonight, third down there. Duke, Miami, Clemson, Georgia Tech. Miami game might have been the most impressive before it took him. He did most of that in the second half.
And did all of it without any practice.
On one foot. Left foot starting to come around, as is Winkie. This is Javon Walker. A flag in behind Winkie. Thrown by the referee. Much too busy, Jack Childress.
Defensive play by number 31,
referee. And there is Walker. Career night for him. A holding, though, against Florida State will bring that back.
Well, all that will do is, instead of throwing a 15-yard out, Mark Rick will call a 25-yard post corner.
Holding by the offense, 10-yard, previous spot, feet second down.
Mark Rick leaning out of your picture now, a little miffed at the whole situation. But the offense that he has formulated here in tandem with Bowden and his staff, unstoppable, college football's most effective, and it will be on display next week in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The Demon Deacons are going to have a devil of a time with this. Winky sets up the screen, and there you go.
Oh, my goodness.
A phalanx in front of Jeff Cheney. Watch him fall. There he goes. Cheney, touchdown. Chris Winky. 42 yards. Over 500. The single game mark for Chris Winky at the expense of one of FSU's all-time greats, Reggie Herring, and his defense.
Reg came with pressure that time. A great call by Mark Rick. As it developed, you and I both went, oh no, look at this.
Brett Cimarella, his perfect night continues. His 5th extra point to go with 4 field goals. 47-7.
Which came first, the steak burger or the customer? I can't make the steak burger until the customer orders it. And yet, paradoxically, if there was no steak burger, what brought the customer here in the first place?
Steak burgers. They order them. He cooks them. And I serve them.
Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
The fastest way to save toward the new GM car or truck of your dreams is to earn 5% on every credit card purchase. The new GM card. What are you charging toward?
Seminole fans, call now and start receiving the Osceola for the most comprehensive coverage available on Florida State University sports. The Osceola gives you the behind-the-scenes coverage you can't get anywhere else. From practice reports and locker room chatter to in-depth interviews with the coaches and players of your favorite college sports program. With over 42 years of experience covering Florida State, the Osceola staff gives you Seminole sports as no other media source can. You can get your information on the Seminoles a lot of places, but if you want real insight, you need the Osceola. Call now.
They can beat you with power, with speed, and with finesse. A screen pass from Chris Winky to Jeff Cheney.
All out blitz. Chris just flips it out to Jeff, and he's got 3 big OL in front of him. Can't even find anybody to hit. You'll see, I believe, Calvin Gardner come back across and try to get someone, but Jeff gets in from 42 yards out.
We even had Jared Moon, Chris's a roommate out there, the big center, leading the way. Jeff Cheney, his 2nd touchdown tonight, and his very first receiving touchdown, yes, of his senior season.
1 of by air, 2 of by sea. Okay, on the ground.
And Chris Winky with his 2nd touchdown pass of this game. Johnny Golightly has scored a couple, 4 field goals as well. Start adding it up. 47-7. Spun around is Brian Mance out to the 30-yard line. Our football game this evening on Sunshine is brought to you in part by the Radisson Hotel Tallahassee. When visiting the home of the Seminoles, stay at the Radisson Hotel Tallahassee. Hotel rooms hard to come by this weekend. In Tallahassee, Florida, the capital city of the Sunshine State.
As mentioned earlier, a lot of Clemson folks coming down from South Carolina to enjoy the Tallahassee hospitality. The hoteliers and the restaurateurs and etc. were nice to them. The football team was not.
Rod Gardner stood up and driven back by Tay Cody. So with 12 minutes remaining in this game, and now here is Clemson, a team that will leave here at 8-2, 6-2 in the ACC, with 1 more game to play against their in-state arch rival South Carolina, much improved this year. Pretty important that they try and build on something here and leave here with something positive out of all of this.
Well, and they get a week off, so they'll have a couple of weeks to prepare for Lou Holtz and his Gamecocks. That game taking on the same rivalry intensity as a Florida State.
Yeah, they win that, they could play in a New Year's Day bowl game. But they're playing for millions of dollars now, the remaining of this quarter, and those 4 against the Gamecocks, are they not?
Exactly, and they'll have South Carolina at home. Tommy's schedule very favorable in that they had 7 home games this year, only 4 on the road.
Let's check in with Tom.
Guys, you're talking about New Year's Day's bowl games. I happened to be in the end zone when Jeff Chaney scored, and some fans threw some oranges on the field. Now, 2 things. One, if they keep that up, FSU will get penalized. But the second point is fans are certainly optimistic that FSU is going to be able to move up to number 2 in the BCS standings at some point. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the Seminole faithful are definitely thinking Orange Bowl, guys.
An Orange Bowl game, Tom and Keith, that Bobby Bowden has won 3 of them. 3 separate Orange Bowls. You played a couple of them down there, did you not?
Well, yeah, first 2 we didn't win.
I was just trying to put a positive spin on your Orange Bowl experience down there. Reggie Herring was on one of those clubs.
He was on both of them. Yes, he was. The captain of our senior club.
Remember those jerseys? They had Florida State spelled out across them, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
I like those.
I got it hanging in the closet. I'll let you look at it sometime. I can't get in it, but I'll let you look at it.
I wasn't going to say anything. I'll let that go. Bradley Jennings went a long way to make that tackle, the middle linebacker on Justin Watts. Now, we said earlier that Justin Watts has lettered 5 years at Clemson. Well, he was injured in one of those years, but had played enough not to lose his eligibility to be redshirted, but enough to qualify.
Right, you can't take your medical red shirt, I believe, if you get injured within the first 5 games.
Yeah, and he did, and that's what happened for Justin Watts. All right, well, it looks like Rooster is going to crow here when we return. It's 47-7 Noles.
There's a contest FSU should be winning every year. But Seminole fans, it's up to you to make the play, and here's the game plan. Go to the glove box and find your state of Florida vehicle registration. Now on the signal, I want you to run a takeoff pattern to your local tag office and tell them you want to receive the brand new FSU license tag, highlighting our 2 national championships. The football teams have done the hard work. Now it's time for you to brag with the tag.
Do you need cash but are worried about getting the right deal? If you need cash to pay off bills for home improvements or just to spend as you like and you want the loan set up on your terms, call this toll-free number now. You'll know in 10 minutes or less if you qualify for up to $75,000 or more. And if you do, you could have a check in as little as 2 weeks. An Advanta loan specialist will work with you to design a loan that fits your individual needs. Fixed or adjustable rate, terms to fit your budget and your financial goals, even if you've had credit problems in the past. Advanta has been helping homeowners get the cash they need for nearly 50 years. And Advanta was recently named one of America's most admired companies by Fortune magazine. So if you need cash fast, call Advanta or see us online. There's no quicker, easier way to get the money you need. Don't miss out. Call now. If you need cash, call Advanta now at 1-800-550-7114. In 10 minutes or less, you could be pre-approved for up to $75,000 or more. Call now, 1-800-550-7114.
Sunshine Network, home of the 1999 national champion Florida State Seminoles.
Less than 11 minutes remain in this Atlantic Coast Conference showdown between Florida State and Clemson. And the Noles leading 47-7. That is Willie Simmons, a redshirt freshman from nearby Quincy, Florida, about 20 miles due west of Tallahassee.
Gadsden County. Great tomatoes.
Really?
Steak tomatoes.
To throw. Off the fingertips of his intended target, J.J. McKelvey, the sophomore. Mickey's a little upset. Mickey has that, I guess he had that face for Paul Bear Bryant when he was playing defensively.
Played
25, 30 years ago.
Played on a national championship team. Was coached on 2 of them. He knows what it feels like from both perspectives.
Sure does. Simmons. Jamal Reynolds. Pressure. Zachary on the stop. T.J. Watkins, the offensive lineman, just mauled by Reynolds, who came right through him to get the dancer and put a little heat on him. No Zachary off. Rick Stock still over there.
Another look at it.
Watch him come.
All right there on the right-hand side. Just knocks him down and does a Jeff Chaney 360.
Hit him with the flipper to knock him down. Third down. They're coming again. Ryan Allen blitzing. Threw back the spot he vacated. It's complete in the first down, the 14-yard line. That was very well executed. Bernard Rambert touches the ball for the first time. Somerville, South Carolina.
Zachary came out of the ball game. Travis Zachary looked like he had a little leg problem. See Chris Hope there on the tackle. There's no doubt that Rich Rodriguez is the offensive coordinator. Tommy is the head coach. Are going to have a good scheme, Paul. They know how to play the X's and O's.
On first down again to Rambert. Mention he's from Somerville. There's a coach there named John McKissick at Somerville High School who has won more games as a high school coach than anyone in history or in the nation. John McKissick, South Carolina. And this is one of his young pupils, and Bernard Rambert playing out for the Tigers.
Play clock at 10.
Simmons has got to get him going. They throw the slant route, and Tate Cody's there to break it up. Tate Cody right there. Now, this is an undersized man who takes on a larger wide receiver and causes nothing but chaos.
Another look at it here. You'll see at the top of your screen, it's a hitch route. Tate just steps right in front of it and very nearly picks it off.
Tate Cody, our steak and shake defensive player of the game for this performance tonight. That and the fact that Rod Gardner has been nearly shut out. Simmons chased all the way back to Quincy, Florida. Throws it into the end zone. A leaping effort, incomplete. A battle for the football there. Scrambling around, Chris Hope and Cody in the vicinity, thrown toward Rod Gardner.
Well, Coach Bowden may reevaluate his assessment of Willie Simmons, because Bobby said he wasn't really that mobile. He's pretty quick. He could run okay. Well, he runs pretty well.
Right.
That's David Warren and Alonzo Jackson, and then throws this ball up and gives his receiver a chance. Florida State strips it out there at the tail end.
That was a Chris Hope, I think. Keith with the right hand in there. Fourth down now. And motion along the line of scrimmage. Part of the snap of the football. Our thanks once again to the Director of Athletics at Florida State, Dave Hart, for his hospitality, and to Rob Wilson from the Sports Information Office, preparation of this telecast.
Prior to the snap, it was a false start on the offense. 5 yards, still fourth down.
Not a better SID in the country than Rob and his staff. Jeff, Tina, Chuck. I know I left somebody out. I'll get in trouble.
We're going to do this again on fourth down. Loud down there. Despite the fact the issue has been decided. Seminole fans, loud and proud. 8.5 to play. There goes Simmons. All the way back at the 40-yard line. On the run, zips through the hands of Chris Hope. Maybe Tommy Polley there at the 15-yard line. Couldn't make the play. It was Tommy Polley.
TP with an interception this year. Almost had number 2.
Over on downs to Florida State.
Again, pressure. Jamal from the outside. Turns Willie all the way around, and then he throws the ball downfield almost into Tommy's hands.
We will enjoy our second quarterback of the game for Florida State. Chris Winke's day is complete. You see Tommy Polley there. Here will come Marcus Outson. Following Chris Winke's act of 521 yards, the most ever against a Clemson Tiger football team.
Now here's a statistic for you, Paul. Chris Winke's number 3 in the country in quarterback efficiency rating at 163.7.
Whatever your question is, I'm going to say Marcus Outson.
Well, Roosters is 205. He just doesn't have enough attempts to qualify. 72% completion on the season. 438 yards.
And don't discount these snaps either. This was a man called upon 1998 to save a season, and did when he beat the Florida Gators here. The Noles went on to the national championship game. He could be put in a position in the weeks that remain that he'd have to win a game for Florida State. Bobby Bowden's offense tonight, the nation's best, has rolled to 667 in total, the most ever surrendered by Clemson. They have beaten Clemson and humiliated them in every way possible.
I guess Tommy's going to write his book now.
Yes, talk about the beatings, as he said. This is as thorough a beating as Clemson has suffered in 105 years of football in a game to decide the ACC title.
Engineered by that man right there.
And he looks like he could step out and play 18 holes of golf.
He may do that tomorrow.
Yeah, yes. Who's going to say no? Our Steak and Shake offensive player of this game. His second career 500-yard effort. The most passing yards ever against Clemson. Straight ahead. Davey Ford.
Look out.
Goodbye. Watch the wheels fly here. There will be no catching him. He is long gone. Davey Ford for the end zone touchdown. No way they're going to get him.
Now that being done on a knee that's had complete and total reconstructive surgery twice.
The only one that can stop him is the officials, and we're told there's a flag down.
Personal foul against Clemson. I think roughing the passer, well, it wouldn't be the passer, but taking a cheap shot on Rooster.
The Glitter Twins.
That's got to take a while to get off.
82 yards there to match that 98-yard pass from Winky to Snoop.
And you see how well loved Davey is. Everyone on that Florida State team knows what he's been through to get himself healthy. Defense, offense, it doesn't matter. They're all going to be over there to congratulate him.
An 82-yard touchdown run for the pride of West Palm Beach.
Against the defense.
Bert's going to get in the
half the distance to the goal on the try.
And on it.
Well, Bert's a Palm Beach guy.
Yes, he is. I'd forgotten about that. You are correct.
That'd be his homie.
Yep.
Would it not?
Come by the house. See me in the off-season.
The crib. Cimarelli. Again, his 6th extra point. 749 yards against Clemson. 82 yards, the longest FSU touchdown gallop of the season.
Introducing Checkers' new Screaming Chicken Strips, packed with tangy coleslaw, famous fries, and tender slabs of all-white meat chicken.
Hi, I'm the president of Checkers, and if you ask me, these new Screaming Chicken Strips are better than Popeyes and KFC. Oops, did I say that?
Great new chicken, but what's up with that commercial?
New Screaming Chicken Strips. Checkers, high-performance human fuel.
Hey, I'm getting one of these.
The fastest way to save toward the new GM car or truck of your dreams is to earn 5% on every credit card purchase. The new GM card. What are you charging toward?
It was the perfect season that led Florida State to the national championship. Relive the glory on Seminole Summer Showcase. Florida State faces Duke next Saturday at 12:30 on Sunshine. Sit back and soak in a special edition of Sunshine Network Live. Tom Block and Barry Milligan will preview and evaluate the upcoming Seminoles basketball season. Monday at 6:30 on Sunshine.
Chief Osceola aboard Renegade. His Seminoles tonight 54-7, and a former Seminole quarterback along with Tom couldn't be prouder.
That's right, Paul. With Lee Corso, you know, in 1956 he threw for 369 yards on the season. Chris Winkie had 521 tonight. How legitimate is he as a Heisman candidate this year?
This way, I had 520 in 3 years. So he almost beat me. Oh, I think he's won the Heisman in the second half of the Miami game when he hit 19 passes for 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, and should have beat Miami. That's my opinion. I don't see any. I've seen Josh Heupel. I've seen them all except Drew Brees, which is a good quarterback. But I think there's no question that Chris Winkie should win a Heisman.
You guys and your ESPN crew were at the Miami-Virginia Tech game today. Fly up. It's a great day for you. Can you sort out this BCS thing for us? Is Miami going to leapfrog Florida State? How's it going to shake out?
Florida State will stay up there with this win. They'll be very impressive. They'll move to number 2. But it would be a shame if Miami, as good as they are, runs the table and doesn't get a chance to play for the national title. Because I'll tell you what, Miami's a very solid football team. But I'm not so sure. It depends a lot what Oklahoma does.
Who do you see as the 2 teams in there now?
Well, right now, the teams I've seen, I still think Oklahoma's going to get beat somewhere along. Either Nebraska will beat them, A&M might beat them, Kansas State, somebody's going to beat them, and I would not be surprised to see Florida State play Miami again.
All right, well, that's what Seminole fans are hoping for. Lee, enjoy your work on ESPN. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
All righty, 500 yards in 3 years.
Face mask by the defense, 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
He's a great guy and a wonderful football journalist. Outstanding head coach. He took Indiana a bowl game.
But he can't make up his mind what hat he wants to wear. He wears 12 or 13 of them every year. What's up with that?
Mickey Andrews, I would love to see, like Lee mentioned, and Tom was alluding to, as you see, busy night for Lee coming back here to his alma mater. But would love to see the Noles have a shot at playing Miami Hurricanes, but Seminole fans do not look for a moment past the Florida Gators. Would like nothing more, as you can imagine. I mean, you can complete the sentence. And you come in here and, what is this, 2 weeks now? The next time Florida State will step onto the field, the opposition will also be wearing orange, a bit more blue in the uniform.
And a few more quality athletes.
And this man, Tommy Bowden, try to regroup. What is a crushing defeat tonight. I guarantee you he is humiliated by this.
And a hug from Mom will not make it feel better.
And for those who say that Bobby Bowden will not play for the polls, I mean, no quarter given tonight to family or foe. Receiving my man, who was very open in her endorsement this week, which way she was going to vote in this. She was, I'm going with Dad. Who's your daddy? More than 700 yards by the Noles offensively tonight. Here's Willie Simmons trying to do something about it, and he throws Abdul Howard there defensively for Florida State. Rod Gardner could not get his hands on it. You know, Simmons throwing to Gardner. Gardner himself holds a dozen Clemson records, but he has been a non-factor in this. He had that one big catch early of 44 yards.
Florida State's done a good job of shutting him down, taking him out of his game.
And the Noles next week, we're going to go to Winston-Salem.
Another trip to Carolina. Leaves still changing up there?
Oh, yeah, they're gorgeous. We were there last week. Bounces out of play. I'm looking forward to that, you know, and it's been a tough year for Wake. The athletic director, Dave Hart.
I've got a hats off to Bernie Waxman there on the right.
There he is.
Director of Facilities. Great shape that the Florida State turf is in. Folks that work under Bernie. Stadium complex.
It's meticulous, this stadium. Tune in to Sunshine Monday for the Sunshine State Network Live Florida State Seminoles basketball preview. Tom and Barry will highlight the season ahead for Steve Robinson and the Noles. Sunshine Network Live Seminole basketball preview. I'll keep it on the ground here, and that's the former South Carolina high school phenom, and Greg Jones on this carry. We're going to see a running back next week from Wake, and Terrence Williams, who's averaged close to 7 yards a carry. A young kid, and a couple of young quarterbacks in Anthony Young and James McPherson for Wake, all next week, right here on Sunshine. There's got to be sweet carries here for Greg Jones in the state of South Carolina. Battery Creek High School in Beaufort. There he goes.
Again, we've commented the last 2 or 3 weeks, you see the acceleration, Greg's ability to run in traffic and then find a seam and accelerate through it. And all this at 245 pounds.
Pick up a 13 there. Oh, Leslie Pampton.
Our old friend Les, great Florida State graduate and Florida State alum. He hates wearing that orange jacket. He does it because of his love for Miami and the Orange Bowl.
Our good friend Matt Moore is a part of Orange Bowl Maine. Fiesta Bowl is here too. Been out there, and there goes Greg, high stepping. A lot of family and friends looking on. Heavily recruited by Clemson was Greg Jones, who a week ago in the fourth quarter rushed for close to 90 yards against the Wolfpack.
His carries tonight will push him over 200, and that's as the 4th team tailback.
It's tough to get touches behind Minor, Cheney, Ford, all of whom carried the ball tonight. Minor with a 100-yard rushing performance. Cheney has scored a pair of touchdowns, and Davey Ford raced the length of the field for his score. And there goes Jones. Up to the 40-yard line. And a Mater leading away.
Chance for some of these kids to get some significant playing time. And one of the things that this does too, Paul, is it gives them an idea of what it's like to be on a drive, to have to go 12 or 14 plays in a row, and the intensity that's required and the effort that's required in order to sustain a drive.
You know, the
learning experience.
Well, the Noles went 10 or more plays 3 times tonight in the early going. They were chipping away Clemson. Their first drive of the night that resulted in but a field goal. They took over in midfield. It was a 12-play possession.
You see the fatigue right there. Greg needed to get a yard for a first down, and a little bit winded, just not able to find that extra strength in order to get it done, and Florida State will turn it over on downs.
And Keith Cottrell will be punting away, kicking to Brian Mance, the ACC Specialist of the Week. And here's Cottrell. Long effort tonight was his best of 48.
That's off the side of his foot.
Yeah. Looked up on that 7-iron, and unfortunately he may be injured. You see him bending over, holding his leg. Hopefully he's all right. Well, so many highlights to choose from this evening. Time for our SunTrust play of the game. How about the all-time ACC touchdown pass, the longest in conference history?
Again, you just got to love the way Chris Winkie sold the fake, a wide-open Snoop Menace. Snoop's got to learn to keep that head a little still. Not sprinter's form, but he makes it happen.
That fake by Winkie. Simmons slipped at midfield and went down. So Lee was saying that the quarterback in Winkie now vaults to the forefront in the Heisman Trophy balloting.
Well, I think so, particularly with Michael Vick being injured. Obviously, you won't be able to see as much of him. Drew Brees is going to play on a team in Purdue that may only win, 8 ball games. And in the Heisman voting, the strength of the team and how well they do certainly plays a part. Chris has thrown up some phenomenal numbers the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Certainly has. There's Rambert. Carry there.
Jeff Puritan there on the left from Rob Wilson's staff.
Flag in behind Simmons. Got rid of it. Abdul Howard did not get his feet down in time on that pick. For the junior from Quincy too.
Yep. They probably did that a time or two in practice, you think?
You think at Shanks High School?
I think we've got offensive holding.
Well, this was a spanking tonight.
Holding by the offense, 10-yard penalty, lead first half.
What is the good book command? Honor thy father. Well, Dad took this issue into his own hands tonight. He had superior talent, and it showed.
And it also says, spare not the rod.
The rod was wearing 16. To the edge, Simmons. A run designed all the way. And that is their package here. Rich Rodriguez, the offensive coordinator. When you don't have a 4-4 getting to the edge, the play is flattened out. Rushing, passing, total offense.
Well, now, if you said Florida State would have 249 yards rushing, you'd call it a balanced attack. But when you throw nearly 600 passing in the mix.
Well, that's 600 yards on the ground in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 82 by Ford, one play. Rambert, another flag down. Everybody latching on tonight. With 2:17 remaining. Our producer tonight, Jeff DeMoss. Our director, Bill Moore. Our technical director, Mike Lacey. Nick Dandy involved in the preparation of graphics this evening. Busy night for him. John Steele, our spotter. Chad McKenzie, statistics. And Aaron Carlson here in the booth this evening.
The one and only.
Our stage manager. So Florida State on to Wake. It will conclude ACC season next week. And then Florida will be in Dome. And for Tommy Bowden, 2 very long weeks to prepare for South Carolina.
Well, then they've got a lot to play for, though. They take that off week, get some of the people healed, get into good preparation, and if they beat South Carolina, they're sitting there at 9-2 and very well may be playing on New Year's Day.
Off goes Simmons, working his way upfield across the 40 to the 41-yard line. So the Noles are going to improve now to 9-1 on the year, undefeated in the ACC. It was a 63-2 against the Atlantic Coast Conference.
51 straight in Doak Campbell without a defeat.
That's correct. Here we go.
34 consecutive wins in Doak. I don't think they've lost at night since the Virginia game in, what, 95.
And they've never lost to a Bowden. My goodness, never. Pretty strong arm, but Abdul Howard picked it at the 30-yard line. He just sat and waited.
Now there's what it feels like, Abdul, when you do what you do to them. Rod Gardner playing defensive back and Abdul Howard with his pick.
Second of the night for the Seminoles. He'll get a tomahawk for that. And took a pretty good lick, too.
This ball was just laid up for grabs. Not a good decision nor pass by Simmons. Gardner's going to nail him. That's what it feels like, Abdul, on the other end.
A head snapper with 1:21 to play. Abdul Howard, I mean, just one of a number of quality players. This team's so deep. He plays behind Derek Gibson. Might be the best defensive back in college football in Gibson. Here comes Davey Ford. He went 82 the last time he put his hands on the ball. Here out to the 30-yard line.
There he went and just ruined his average. He was averaging 82 a carry.
So the Seminoles laying the most points on a Clemson team in the last quarter century. And Brad Scott.
Don't misunderstand what Brad and Tommy and Reggie and Rick and Rich and the rest of that staff will take away from this. They'll keep pointing to their kids and saying, now that's what we're going to keep working towards. We're going to be like that one day if you'll put forth the effort to make it happen.
And that is the standard of play, Atlantic Coast Conference. In the history of college football, no university University has won its league 9 straight years. Florida State now will capture its 9th consecutive Atlantic Coast Conference championship. With it, a BCS Bowl invitation. A dominating performance. It wasn't the two Bowdens who played a starring role in this tonight. It was the two football teams. And Chris Winkie, Heisman Trophy candidacy, dominating tonight. 521 yards through the air.
I just hope Bobby bought dinner last night. I hope he picked up the tab.
This will be short. Father to son. Grin and bear it, Tommy. There'll be better days. 54-7 the final here. Florida State the winner to improve now to a perfect 7-0 in the league. Playing still another crown. 9-1 on the year and move more likely than not into the second slot behind Oklahoma in the BCS standings.
Now it's easy to get in shape and stay fit in the convenience of your own home, thanks to Sears, America's #1 fitness source. The Sears exclusive LifeFlex Home Gym is a total body workout machine with a compact, space-saving design. You can perform over 90 body-shaping exercises.
And its convenient folding design is perfect for my small apartment.
From beginner to advanced workouts, the LifeFlex Home Gym helps you achieve the fitness results you want. Sculpt your arms, chest, back, and shoulders. Firm and flatten your abs. Trim and shape your hips, thighs, and legs. The LifeFlex Home Gym is just $599.99 with free delivery. Because it's from Sears, you know your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back.
It's a great way to get lean, toned, and more flexible.
And you can build all the muscle you want. Work every major muscle group from a single station. Switching between exercises takes only seconds.
It's really easy to use.
The LifeFlex Home Gym's solid construction and cast iron weight stack are the same quality you'll find at the health club. The adjustable seat ensures proper form and comfort and doubles as a sturdy free weight bench. And you'll also receive the angled arm pad for an intense bicep workout, the low row bar to sculpt your arms and back, the ankle strap for targeting the inner and outer thighs, and the ab strap to really flatten your stomach. The LifeFlex Home Gym is available only from Sears, America's #1 fitness source. Look and feel your best with the total body workout machine that fits easily in your home.
Now we get to spend more time together, doing something that's good for both of us.
Sears, the good life at a great price, guaranteed.
Call 1-800-216-5544 to order your Sears exclusive LifeFlex Home Gym with free delivery. Have your Sears or other credit card ready. Call 1-800-216-5544.
As America's population has grown over the last 2 decades, there's been a 16% decline in the number of physicians trained in the U.S. So Florida State University is building America's first medical school in a generation, training physicians for a growing elderly population and doctors who go out of their way to care for small town and inner city America, meeting a world of needs, making a world of difference at Florida State University.
54-7 your final. And tonight, this belonged to Dad and Bobby Bowden, who's with Tom.
Coach 2-0 in the Bowden Bowl, I guess. The important thing, Florida State keeps its national title hopes alive. Did you ever imagine this game would get this out of hand?
No, it's amazing. They've had a hard time with us down here. And just like I told Tommy, go recruit. Recruit. That's the only answer. Recruit players.
Was there any concern? I mean, you look at the BCS, and in some ways you want to put some points on the board, but you are coaching against your son here.
Yeah, but I've been worse than that before. He's got to learn. He's got to learn. You know, I went through it, and he's got to go through it too. And but next year we're up at their place. You could be a little bit different.
You put up a ton of yards offensively. Chris Winkie, I mean, throwing for 500 yards, it's like nothing anymore.
He is really doing a good job. When we can protect him with all those receivers we've got, and then the runners are beginning to break. I mean, the dadgum, maybe it's coming together for us.
Well, and the kicking game seemed to come together tonight, too.
Oh, didn't it, though? Didn't Cimarelli do a great job? And we've needed that all year. It cost us a game, as you know, and maybe we got it straightened out.
Coach, at least to share the ACC title, you have to play Wake Forest next week, but congratulations to you, and then we'll get Tate Cody in here and talk some defense.
Well, thank you very much. And be sure to mention Munyon, too. Those some great kickoffs that gave us field position.
All right, good point. Coach, thanks. Congratulations to you. All righty, Tate Cody is in here, too. Tay, congratulations to you. Talk a bit about the defensive effort tonight, because this was a Clemson team that was pretty balanced, and you guys really shut them down. Obviously, Dantzler was not 100%.
We know this was going to be a big challenge for us coming in the game, trying to stop a high-powered offense as Clemson. And, Woody Dantzler just make it a lot more dangerous because, with his ability to scramble and run. We're pleased with our performance tonight. I think the defensive front did an outstanding job. They made everybody's job a whole lot easier tonight.
Talk about your interception.
We just tried to run a takeout. We was in a zone coverage, and, I was able to just make the pick. Just been trying to make plays all season.
How are you so good at run support? I've never seen you miss a tackle. They blitzed you tonight. I know that's a bonus for you when you get in and get the quarterback, but you've always been great on one-on-one tackles.
I think that's just something I've just been blessed with. I've been put in a position where I can make a lot of open field tackles, and I just thank God I've been successful on this season. That's a big part of our goals this year. We want to come in and not miss tackles because, that hurt us last year a lot. Coach been stressing not missing tackles, and I think I've just been perfecting it this year.
Finally, did you guys want to send a message tonight based on how impressive Miami was against Virginia Tech to try and stay in front of them in the BCS?
We wanted to come out and win the game. We knew if we come out and play Florida State football that, we were going to put up big numbers, and, that's what we did tonight. I think both sides are very pleased with our game plan. We executed tonight. Now, we got 2 big ball games left, and, we just got to try to put ourselves in the best scenario, if anything left for us to get a national championship game.
All right, congratulations on the interception and the win, Tay.
Okay, thank y'all.
Tate Cody, Seminole senior, Paul. He's not Deion Sanders or one of the more high-profile guys to come out of Florida State, but he started for all 4 years, and he's pretty doggone good. Guys?
Yeah, they call him Karante Cody. It's his name, shortened to Tay, and what a start tonight, Keith.
4-year starter, plays big in big games, great leader. You see the result.
Big win, 54-7 in Doak.
Have fun! Hi, kids!
Hi, Mrs.
It has nothing to do with the little mistakes that were made in Palm Beach County. It's the whole country. If they want to list it in the paper tomorrow and show the Americans how many have been thrown out in every county and every state. In this country, we are all going to be in shock.
In most states this election, the discarded ballots aren't enough to make a difference. But in Florida, the margin of victory is within the voting machine's margin of error. The system is just not accurate enough to deal with an election in which every vote truly counts.
It's a tie, for all intents and purposes.
For all intents and purposes, given the mathematics of this, it is a tie.
Tonight, you will get unusually close to capital punishment when we take you inside the execution of Ricky McGinn. Are you afraid to die?
No, sir. If it's my time, I'm ready to die.
You will see it through the eyes of the people most affected, the mother of the murder victim.
What that man did to my daughter, he deserves a lot worse than what he's getting.
And Frances McGinn, the mother of the man about to die.
Remember to say Jesus.
All right.
When they put that needle in, say Jesus.
All right.
I love you, baby.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
How do you turn a bunch of college kids into champions? Just ask Bobby Bowden. In a career now entering its 6th decade, Bowden has mastered the art of motivating, inspiring,
built for 34.
nurturing, and at times defending generations of young men.
The way I look at public, they're exactly like they were in the Colosseum in the 1st and 2nd century in Rome when they saying, kill the Christians, kill the Christians, kill the Christians. People love to see a hanging. They love a hanging, and I don't want people hanging my players.
I'm Dan Rather.
I'm Bob Simon.
I'm Charlie Rose.
I'm Scott Pelley.
I'm Vicki May.
More widespread than you might think. More than 1/3 of all voters in America used a punch card ballot last Tuesday. Usually the system works well enough, but Scott Pelley found what election officials across the country have known for years, that when an election is close, the punch card method is full of holes.
Who won? Who won? Who won?
In Palm Beach County, Florida, it's as if Election Day never ended. But all of the voting is in the street now. A week after the vote totals were expected to be known with certainty, there is frustration instead. There's nothing Americans hate quite as much as a tie. The presidential photo finish exposes a weakness in the punch card system. It turns out that in every election, some small percentage of the cards don't count. That's because some ballots contain too many votes for president, while others don't appear to have any presidential vote at all.
Here at the Palm Beach County Courthouse, they found problems with 6% of the ballots. That's 30,000 votes, more than enough to throw this election, where the two candidates are separated in Florida by only a few hundred votes.
The whole recount debate is about those ballots that appear to be blank and whether county officials should be trying to look for any hint of a perforation.
When we peer through the window in the Palm Beach County Courthouse and we see those folks holding those ballots up to the light, what are we seeing? What's happening in there?
You're seeing an attempt to try to determine the intent of the voter with this particular voting system, and it's not easy.
For 30 years, Richard Smoka has been a nonpartisan authority on the mechanics of elections. He writes a widely respected newsletter for election administrators.
What they're trying to divine is what was in the mind of the voter.
That's correct.
When this card was punched in whatever strange way it was punched.
That's exactly right.
So they're guessing.
They're making a judgment.
That judgment is based on the examination of Chad. That's the little bit of paper that sometimes sticks to a ballot and blocks the voter's choice. It seems hard to imagine that the presidency could be decided by these arcane election gremlins that county officials introduced to the nation in endless variety.
The hanging Chad, the swinging door Chad, the tri-Chad also is counted. The swinging door Chad obviously looks like a swinging door. A Chad that is fully attached are those that are called the pregnant Chad. That's where the indentation is there and it bulges, but the Chad doesn't go through in any way. And the other one that is not counted is the dimple.
Why don't you show me how it works?
Joe Campbell is election supervisor of Highlands County, Florida. He's a Democrat, and he showed us how Chad can cover the hole and mask the vote.
How often does this happen, that you have a piece of paper that hangs up in there?
That could, you don't really know a lot. We don't go through, in our county we have what our motto is, let the chips fall where they may. How are you going to determine the voter's intent?
In most elections, the faulty ballots are just dropped from the total. Some election officials using the punch card system think nothing of throwing out up to 5% of all of their ballots.
Your county had 1,000 ballots that it couldn't count in this election. Those 1,000 people believe that they voted. They don't know tonight that their vote was never counted.
Right.
How many of you believed on Election Day that everyone who filled out a ballot would be counted? All of you.
Oh, definitely.
And are they surprised now? These are people who actually worked in Palm Beach polling places on Election Day. One was a supervisor, one an inspector, the rest were poll watchers for the parties. We talked with 2 Democrats, Frankie Ross and Bev Whitten, and 3 Republicans, Eleanor Paulus, Richard Fortek, and Christine Critchfield. They feel they should have been told a lot more about Chad.
How many of you had heard of Chad?
I hadn't heard of it. No, I knew of Chad, because we also, when our people came out of the booth after voting, we'd say, be sure to fold it inside out and rub the back of the form to make sure those Chads come off.
Nobody else had heard that before.
I have never heard that, and I have voted for every election in Florida.
I folded my ballot.
We're all worried about our own votes now.
Worried about your own votes?
I'm not worried.
I never heard of a Chad before. I just pushed it, assumed it would right through.
To me, to vote for the president was fabulous. I mean, to think that my vote could not be counted, that's sad. What can I tell you?
But it's not a Palm Beach County issue. I want the people to know that. How come no one ever heard of this before?
About 37% of the voters in this country
use this sort of system, the punch card system. Do you think after this election, this system will have any credibility anymore?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I mean, I'm sure there's always going to be the question in the candidate's mind, and rightly so.
In fact, experienced candidates know all about the problems with punch cards, and in tight races, they often demand recounts. It happens all over the country in all kinds of races, and it's been happening for years. In Massachusetts, William Delahunt lost a 1996 primary race for Congress. But there was something suspicious. The tally showed that 20% of the ballots were blank, according to Secretary of State William Galvin.
So it didn't make any sense that 20% or more of the people would come out to vote on a rainy day, with that being the only race on the ballot, and not vote. Yet that's, if we would have believed what the machines told us in reading these cards, that's what they were saying.
Delahunt demanded a hand recount, and he won by 119 votes.
This was a system utilizing machines that were archaic, that counted wrong, that almost counted me out. But because we pursued it, I ended up in Congress.
The kind of machines that he describes as archaic were first introduced in 1964, and most counties are simply content to dust them off every 2 years.
Do counties just simply not invest enough money in this sacred American institution?
I think it's treated as the lowest item in the county budget, and it's one of the real problems that we have with elections.
Eleanor, Frankie, let me ask you both this question. Both of you have been poll watchers, poll workers in this county for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
How does this election compare to the ones you've seen in the past?
But telling you I'll never do it again, does that answer your question?
You'll never do it again.
I will never do this again. Will that answer your question?
What do you want to see in the next election?
New booths. New system.
Maybe this
Every one of you.
Maybe not. But we probably won't
get rid of this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This has to go.
But in all over America, anyone who uses this ballot, it has nothing to do with the little mistakes that were made in Palm Beach County. It's the whole country. If they want to list it in the paper tomorrow and show the Americans how many have been thrown out in every county and every state, in this country, we are all going to be in shock.
In most states this election, the discarded ballots aren't enough to make a difference. But in Florida, the margin of victory is within the voting machine's margin of error. The system is just not accurate enough to deal with an election in which every vote truly counts.
It's a tie, for all intents and purposes.
For all intents and purposes, given the mathematics of this, it is a tie.
How do you come to a solution to this problem?
There will be a political solution. The candidates will have to determine what they will accept as the definitive answer. And once they come to that decision, we'll have an answer.
No matter who ends up in the White House, how many of you will have confidence that the voters' will was done? None of you.
I would say that in general, we're probably in the same area we were in any other election.
4 of you aren't at all sure, no matter which man ends up in the White House, that it was the will of the voter that put him there.
That's right.
That's right.
That's exactly the way.
Exactly how I feel.
Is this nation ever going to know with certainty who was elected President of the United States on Election Day?
I don't think we're going to have an answer that people will believe with certainty. I think that each side will believe that they won, regardless.
In the streets of Palm Beach, no number will satisfy. The endless election day will stretch on at least until Friday, when overseas absentee ballots are due. Those ballots, by the way, are punch cards.
Now entering its 6th decade, Bowden has mastered the art of motivating, inspiring, nurturing, and at times defending generations of young men. Some of them have been in and out of trouble on front pages and on sports pages, and Coach Bowden has stood by them. His Florida State Seminoles are the defending national college football champions, and sometime next year, Bowden will likely surpass the legendary Bear Bryant's all-time record for wins. How has he done it? Bowden will tell you it's very simple. The times have changed, and so has he.
When I started off coaching, if a coach told you to do something, you didn't bat an eye. Coach told you to run through that wall, man, you do your best to run through that wall, you know? If a kid dared ask a coach, why? Why? Coach might say, turn your uniform in. Turn your uniform in. I mean, man, you didn't. If he said do something, you did it. That has changed. Now then, if you tell a kid to do something, you better explain to him why and how it'll make him better, you know? And you got to.
Why it's good for him.
That's right. Why it's good for him. You got to do that. You got to sell him on it.
Bowden's ability to motivate young men year after year is why his Florida State Seminoles are now one of college football's great dynasties. 24 straight winning seasons, 17 bowl wins, and most remarkably, not a season out of the top 4 since 1986. Meanwhile, Bowden's down-home demeanor is the stuff folk heroes are made of.
Shade corner here tight, just sit down.
The New York Times called him the Dean of Dadgum.
I mean, dadgum, 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 dadgum it, dadgum it.
Do your dadgum best and stay out of trouble and things will work out.
Daggone.
I knew you'd understand that.
Vocabulary is not the only product of his Southern heritage. Although he now makes over $1 million a year,
Give me a pack of Levi Garrett to go with that, will you?
he remains a man of simple sensibilities. Those are peanuts he's pouring into that orange soda.
Best drink there is. Best drink there is, boy.
Here is a Tallahassee area phone book. Am I going to find your name in here?
Yep.
Now, why would you do that? You're one of the most well-known people in the state of Florida.
I just hate to think that one of my friends came through town and couldn't locate me if he needed to, you know?
You're not worried about fans coming over to say...
Occasionally somebody will call me at 3 o'clock in the night.
Saying, why? Why didn't you make a substitution?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Bowden's manner is at the root of his success. Great players want to play for him. Great coaches want to coach under him. But beyond his endearing personality is a brilliant coaching mind. Rarely is he not planning for the big play, a long touchdown pass.
20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Here's the snap.
The blocked punt. Exciting plays made Florida State the college football team of the 90s. But Bowden contends that it's not just the Saturdays on the field that define him. His Sundays do too. He is a devout Southern Baptist.
Word of prayer here.
His staff meetings will not begin without prayer.
Amen.
His football clinics for high schoolers include his commitment to faith.
They can pass all them laws they want to up in Washington. We're going to have prayer for every ball game. What does God want you to do with your life? How are you going to find out if you don't ask him? And this is where he talks to you.
He speaks at churches over 40 Sundays a year.
Now, don't ever think that Bobby Bowden stands up and says, oh, look how good I am. You know, oh, look, he don't ever do anything wrong. You don't know the half of it, you know.
The greatest college football coach in America, Coach Bobby Bowden.
His critics, and there are not many, are skeptical of all this. Newspaper columnists have said that he prefers to look the other way when his players get in trouble. His arch rival across the state, University of Florida coach Steve Spurrier, once charged that Bowden pushes his players to knock quarterbacks out of the game.
Against the rush. Johnson a hit.
Steve Spurrier said it wasn't always fair and square with you. Steve Spurrier said you were trying to knock out his quarterback.
Well, you got a uniform on, Eddie. Doesn't he wear the other colored jersey? I mean, and allow Garrett, let me tell you a little something. His defensive ends hit us as hard as they can. Ours are going to hit his guys as hard as they can. He knows better than that. Steve knows better than that.
Tell me whether these fit. You are God-fearing.
Yeah, I do believe in God.
God's purpose for you.
Amen. Yep.
You're honest.
I'll try to be.
Cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded? Tommy says I'm cold-blooded. I don't know what he means by that.
Tommy is Tommy Bowden, one of Bobby's 4 sons, and now the head football coach at Clemson University in South Carolina.
Tommy, did you ever say he was cold-blooded?
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah.
The year before, let's see, last year they played 11 games and knocked 8 quarterbacks out. Something doesn't jive.
He speaks in more churches. He's a Christian Baptist good guy.
Southern Baptist.
His team
yes.
knocks out, cold-blooded knocks out.
Knocks right down the middle.
More quarterbacks than any other team.
Yes. He's on game day, he's Old Testament. Eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. The love, grace, and mercy of the New Testament, that's not covered till Monday after the game.
Tommy and his brothers should know the Bowden boys have gridiron in their DNA.
No false step.
Besides Tommy at Clemson, Terry is a football analyst for ABC Sports.
Now give yourself 3.
Jeff is an assistant under his dad, and Steve helps run his father's annual football camps. The patriarch is now 71 years old, and much has changed for him over his 43 years as a coach.
You doing all right?
Good.
You have a good weekend?
Yes, sir.
No longer does he run to the practice field with his players. A golf cart gets him there now. Why does the quarterback in green back there?
So somebody will touch him.
And this tower gives him a commanding view during practice.
I've always been down on the field.
Yeah.
But down on the field, you can only see who you're talking to. Now, up here, I can see what's happening. If we're practicing over here, too, all I can do is turn around and see what's happening over there. See?
Here we go, let's go!
His coaches are his biggest help. He delegates to them much of what it takes to run a football team. And it gives him time for his daily naps. Bowden grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and dreamed of playing quarterback for Bear Bryant at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. But when his high school sweetheart Ann stayed back home in Birmingham, he didn't last long with the Crimson Tide.
Well, he left the University of Alabama.
Well, he said
Because of
of me. That's what he said. I don't think he was playing much football. I think he was sitting on the bench.
How you doing?
Good.
They've been married 51 years. Bobby's coaching jobs took them from South Georgia to Howard College in Birmingham to West Virginia. In 1976, he landed the top spot at Florida State and quickly made the previously unknown Seminoles a winner. Since then, he's played in the national championship game 5 times and won it twice. But after the first one in 1993, Sports Illustrated broke a story documenting unsavory behavior by some of his players. Some had accepted gifts from sports agents, which violates collegiate rules. Then, during last year's championship season, more of Bowden's players had trouble off the field. But short of felony charges, Bowden rarely drops a player for a first offense. That's one reason he is such a great recruiter. Parents love him.
That mama knows I'm going to try to treat her son like mine.
How do you convince them of that?
How do I convince them of that? They read the paper. They see it. History tells them I'll do it that way.
What's the history?
History says that Bobby Bowden will discipline your child, but he's not going to kick him out on the street unless he has to.
Instead, when players get in trouble, he suspends their scholarships, their meal privileges, revokes game tickets, and orders weeks of extra running up and down the steps here at their stadium. And he does not think much of those who say he should be tougher.
You know the way I look at public? They're exactly like they were in the Colosseum in the 1st and 2nd century in Rome when they're saying, kill the Christians, kill the Christians, kill the Christians. People love to see a hanging. They love a hanging, you know, and I don't want people hanging my players. Oh, yes, punish him for it. Punish him for it, but give him another dadgum chance. 2 chances? I don't give him 2 chances. You know, coaches who can't change with the times, Charlie, they ain't here no more. They don't last.
And you've changed with the time.
I've changed with the times. 30 years ago, I'd kick them off at the drop of a hat.
One more on this one.
But Bobby Bowden has always wanted to give kids the benefit of the doubt. Just look at his own family. Besides their 4 boys, he and Ann have 2 daughters, a clan that now includes 21 grandchildren who get together once a year at their vacation home in Panama City Beach, Florida.
When I was at home, I was a disciplinary with the children. I was gone a lot, and I'd come home and Ann say, Bobby, whip Steve.
Why, Ann? Because he did this, this, and this. Whip him. Oh, Ann, I wanted to hug his neck. I want to go home and hug him, you know? And so I'd go back to the back room, shut the door, and fake a whipping.
No,
I'd say, Steve, you cry. I'm going to make it like I'm whipping you. You see why I was with Janikowski.
Sebastian Janikowski was his star kicker last season.
56-yarder.
When he broke FSU's curfew before the national championship game in New Orleans, Bowden declared that the kicker would run extra at practice, but would not miss a play.
They say that you tailored that punishment so that it would fit very conveniently for the national playoffs.
What's wrong with that?
That's the nature of it. They hired you to win.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at let's get down to the facts of this thing. All right, here we are playing for the national championship. Does it make sense to risk the money, the millions of dollars that your university will make if you win the national championship? When it's a rule, we say it, not to public or not to NCAA.
But some would say that's situational ethics. If it's about winning the championship, you look at it one way. If the championship is not at stake, you look at it another way.
I think I would have done that no matter what. That's just the way I am. You know,
Yeah,
that's
you
just the
would
way I am. Yeah. You know, I just think, you know, Charlie, football, I know we hate to, football is a game. It's a game. We're supposed to have fun and play hard and get the alumni excited and everybody. And the media sometimes wants to make it a life and death thing. It's not a life and death thing.
That's the paradox of Bobby Bowden and college football. In one breath, there are millions of dollars at stake, and in the next, it's just a game. Bowden does not see the two as a contradiction.
Winning, 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 winning. What was it Lombardi said? Winning is not everything, it's the only thing.
Yeah,
that's the way it is.
I don't go with that, but that's what they say.
That is.
Yeah. That's what they say.
You don't buy that?
No, I'm not winning. I say I'm not going to sell my soul to win. I might sell my house, but I ain't selling my soul. You know, I'd hate, the worst thing they could say, Bobby Bowden did this, but law, he cheated. No, law. I'd hope they'd say, well, he was good to kids, he did kids right, and he did it clean, and he still won. That's what I'd like to be a legacy. I hate to think of doing it right and losing, you know, gee.